Oh, hi there. Got some more FaB gameplay for you today, featuring me, Lupine Fiasco. Today we will be playing against Dash. We have no specific sideboard plan for Dash. This is just an aggro mirror. We go full aggro, trying to trigger Mask Momentum through Dash's blocks. She does have a good amount of armor. Here we see she is on the Hyperdriver Blaster plan. This doesn't change what we're trying to do. It does benefit us in the late game when Dash has to start blocking and she is less able to put counters on her blaster, but it does give her a stronger start of the game, as we will be taking at least 5 damage from this blaster. I don't know if that's more or less impactful than Teclo Pounder, but I'm not a Dash player. All I know is that there are still no on-hits from Dash. We're really not looking to block with cards or equipment until we have to start preserving our life total, but as it is, unless this Dash is running Command and Conquer, other generics that reduce her own consistency, Dash is just damage. Looking at our hand, it sucks because we have a Phoenix Flame and our Flame Call Awakening, both of which are fine individually, but together are just awful. So, probably looking at a fairly weak turn here. We are trying to get this Phoenix Flame back into our deck, keeping the Flame Call Awakening so that we can go wider on our next turn, but unfortunately, that means that we're looking at pretty bad play here, likely pitching the Phoenix Flame for a Kodachi, pitching Soul Bead Strike for a Kodachi, Lava Burst for 2, move to end. You could argue that we should keep the Lava Burst. We give Dash fewer opportunities to cycle her hand, and with a Flame Call and Arsenal, it is extremely likely that we will be able to play the Lava Burst. That's possible. I do generally like freeing up hand space to get a blue if I know I'm going to do something like Flame Call Awakening. Also opening the potential to draw an Art of War, which pairs very nicely with Flame Call Awakening, but overall I don't think it is right or wrong necessarily to hold the Lava Burst here. There are arguments either way, so long as you are doing it with intention. There is an argument for attacking with Flame Call Awakening, attacking with Lava Burst, picking up a Phoenix Flame and arsenaling that, but overall, I don't think that is a particularly strong line. Overall, this is a weak hand. There's really no way to dress that up. This is a weak hand, and sending what would be an additional 6 points of damage on turn 0 is pretty meaningless. Dash is happy to just block that. As it is, we miss our blue. Dash just sends damage, which is fine. We're happy to take a good chunk of damage here. She will get a counter on Hanabi Blaster, put us to 26. 14 damage off a 4-card hand, and half for Blaster Charge is pretty good. What we could look to do here is pitch to our Flame Call Awakening, pick up a Phoenix Flame, and bottom that with Lightning Strike. First, we're going to evaluate whether we can go 6 links wide with this hand. We are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially. This line involves us picking up our Phoenix Flame and arsenaling it with Enlightened Strike. We cannot get to 3 Draconic Links without playing a Flame Call Awakening, so that line is out. So perhaps looking at something like Brand with Cinderclaw, pitch E-Strike for Flame Call, Phoenix Flame, Double Strike, Ravenous Rabble. That is 6 links. Pitching Enlightened Strike to play a Phoenix Flame is a little low value, or to play Flame Call Awakening. We would like to take advantage of having an Enlightened Strike in hand to bottom the Phoenix Flame. So how can we set that line up? And can we get 6 links if we keep this Enlightened Strike? So let's say play Brand, pitch Ravenous to play Flame Call, play Phoenix Flame, that's 3 links, double strike, pick up a Phoenix Flame from the graveyard, Enlightened Strike for 7. That's the line I like. Talking it out loud, I think that's very good. It does not present great breakpoints to get armor or cards from Dash. Walking through that line of Brand, Flame Call, Phoenix Flame, our breakpoint is 1, or our attack power is 1, which gets Galvanic Bender. 2, 1, 7. The 7 is a good breakpoint, right? We would potentially get Skullcat, Foundry Heart, and a card from hand. It does eat through a decent chunk of Dash's armor, and even depending on how much damage she takes or blocks from our earlier salvo here, we're down on life. So Skullcat could even only block for 1, which means we would get 2 cards from Dash's hand if she wanted to stop the Enlightened Strike hit. But as it is, we are going to look to Brand, if we're doing this now, we're going to look to Brand, Flame Call, Phoenix Flame, pitching our Rabble, unfortunately. Pitching our potential 4-cost attack, or 4-power attack does feel bad, but we cannot get to 6 links if we don't play the double strike. Here, opting for what looks like a higher damage line, but with a lower chain link count. If this Flame Call goes unanswered, we can Ravenous Rabble for 4, which potentially gets a card from Dash's hand. We can then Enlightened Strike for 5, bottoming the Phoenix Flame and drawing a card. As I recall, we do have 2 Draconic links on the chain. We do. So we can play our Phoenix Flame here, get an additional point of damage, then pick up and bottom our other Phoenix Flame. So as we can see, without the double strike, our math was correct. We're only getting to 5 lines, or 5 links, but this is a higher damage turn. So here, choose to draw a card. Just something for the arsenal, potentially pushing 5 points of damage. Dash chooses to block. Possible she was sitting on a bad hand. But great news for us. We take no damage on Dash's turn, and she doesn't get a counter on Blaster, is exactly what we want to see. Looking at this hand, we can play, we still have no blues. So looking, if we wanted to play this Enlightened Strike, we'd be looking to bottom this Mounting Anger. This is 1, 2, 3 links, 4, 5. 1 Draconic link short of a Phoenix Flame, and 1 overall link short of a Mask of Momentum trigger. So what we can look to do here is play the Rising Resentment first. See if this gets any kind of block from Dash. We could get cute, do something like double strike, Blaze Headlong, Rising Resentment to see if Dash lets the hit go through. If it does, we banish the Mounting Anger, then play the Phoenix Flame, keeping our Enlightened Strike in arsenal. That is not even a bad line, actually, now that I say it out loud. The 3-1-4 is more typical to what our plan is, but 1-2-4 is more likely to get initial blocks, which would make this Rising Resentment more likely to go through. Looking at overall damage, that would be 1, 3, 7, 10, 14, 16. If everything goes through and hits, we keep an Enlightened Strike in arsenal, or we would look at something like 3, 4, 8, 10, 15 with a guaranteed draw. I like the double strike blaze play. If this Rising Resentment gets blocked, we still just bottom our Mounting Anger with Enlightened Strike and draw a card. But there, we are giving ourselves the option. We are giving our opponent the opportunity to mess up. A big part of Kodachi Momentum gameplay, as you may have noticed, in how it depends almost entirely on our opponent blocking incorrectly, we are giving our opponent the opportunity to screw up, which, in my opinion, is not something that Emberblade Pouncing Links does. Emberblade Pouncing Links is about brutal efficiency and just doing a lot of damage quickly. But FaB doesn't have on-hits. We are a Katsu. Choosing here to go with the traditional 3-1-4 line, again, if I was doing this over, I would not take this line. I think this is incorrect in hindsight. It is slightly lower damage, and we give our opponent less opportunity to mess up, but it's still fine. We're going to push Blaze Headlong damage as our potential trigger. Overall, to summarize my point in Flesh and Blood, in any trading card game, giving your opponent the opportunity to mess up is good. You want to give your opponent the opportunity to screw up. Because even at the pro level, you can watch replays of Call-ins, Nationals, Worlds events, even the best of the best will screw up. You're just getting more blocks from Dash. I don't know what her game plan is. Again, I'm not familiar with Dash. I am not familiar with Hyperdrive or Hanabi Blaster Dash, but full blocking vanilla damage and even over blocking vanilla damage just seems wrong to me. Drawing a blue off of the Enlightened Strike is pretty bad. In general, drawing a blue off of your Momentum, Enlightened Strike, Snatch is bad. Here, we're going to choose to turn it into a Phoenix Flame for our arsenal. In certain matchups, I would be happy to see a Warmonger's Diplomacy for the arsenal, sort of a pseudo-finisher, but in general, blues are bad. We don't want to draw them for our arsenal. So putting a Phoenix Flame into our arsenal is a lot less detrimental to our overall game plan than a blue without Go Again. Blue Lava Vein Loyalty is one that I'm not thrilled to see, but is not the worst thing. We've been time walking Dash a couple of turns in a row now, so we can look to push a little more damage with our Art of War. We can also choose to arsenal the Art of War. We don't need to play it here. Without the Art of War, we can only go 5 lengths wide. With this blue, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and no Phoenix Flame to pick up from our graveyard, unfortunately. We could also play this Art of War, pitching Lava Vein Loyalty, likely banishing the Ravenous Rabble with a Phoenix Flame in Arsenal. A couple of Draconic Head Jabs are likely to get the Spreading Flames bonus. That's probably what I'm looking to do here, rather than set up a different Art of War turn. We have a blue, we have our Spreading Flames. Our arsenal is pretty weak, but we do have 2 of our power cards in hand. This has the potential to be a very good turn. If I had to make this call now, I would play the Art of War, but past me choosing not to. So looking to push some damage here. Looking to potentially trigger Mask Momentum, which we are going to get an additional block from this dash. So even this line does work out. The play lines here are pretty flexible. Some are certainly right compared to others. Here, flipping a Warmonger's Diplomacy. Bad for pushing damage, good for our Art of War turn. With a hand like this, we're really not looking to block anything at all. Potentially give Flamescale Furnace. Coming in with the Pulse Wave starter, revealing the Warmonger's Diplomacy that our dash already knows about. We'll take our 4 damage here. We say no to allow the opponent to undo. In hindsight, I feel bad about this. My thought at the time was, well, I just gave Dash information, so I don't want to reveal, I don't want to let the Dash undo if she has information now that she didn't before. Forgetting that we had already shown our Warmonger's Diplomacy to Dash, so a little bad manners on my part. If I could offer to let them undo, I would, giving them the option here, but they are going to just move forward. I suspect that this play line might not have changed. It could have just been High Octane before Pulse Wave Harpoon, just to see if the line changes at all. Overall, not a huge problem. I don't feel like anything was lost here. I don't feel like it would have been a significantly different game if the High Octane had come first, but it is what it is. Dash coming in with a high octane turn, choosing to break the Achilles Accelerator to gain some life from Tome of Fiendal. You see Blaster come in for 5, take us to 12. Dash does have an action point left, but we'll see if she chooses to use it. She does not. High Octane, pretty clunky with Hanabi Blaster compared to Teklo Pistol. What are we looking to do here? We are going to play this Art of War. We have a pretty good hand for it. What we can potentially look to do here is trick our opponent. We don't need to lead with the Art of War. We can work it into our chain. If we did something like Branded Cinderclaw, Kadachi, Ronin Renegade, the Ronin Renegade gets blocked by a 3-block from hand. We play Art of War, banish our Salt Wound, and push Ronin Renegade over the block. We lose a point of damage by not playing it on our Branded Cinderclaw, but we gain a theoretical 3 points of damage from drawing a card from the Mask Momentum trigger. A mystery card in your deck can always be valued at 3 points on average, whether you were blocking with it, pitching with it, or attacking with it, or playing it. For those of you that run non-attack actions, I wouldn't know anything about it. The risk of taking that line is we open our Kadachi to getting blocked by a Foundry Heart, still play a Ronin Renegade, still play the Art of War. It's just now that we have missed a point of value from the Branded Cinderclaw being unmodified. That said, I still like this line. I like playing Brand, holding the Art of War, attacking with Kadachi, attacking with Ronin Renegade. Based on us having 5 cards in hand, it seems unlikely to me that Dash would block the first Kadachi. So I suspect that we will be able to, quote-unquote, trick them, use our Art of War sneakily rather than lead with it. Banishing our Salt the Wound for the Art of War does feel pretty bad. Salt on a go-wide turn like this, it's obviously a lot of damage, but it is a finisher. We want to reduce the chance that we draw more finishers. I hate this. I hate everything that's happening here. We see that we do get a bit rewarded by banishing our Salt the Wound, and that we see another finisher in Snatch. We could end our turn with it and not use our Snapdragon Scalers. I just don't understand what my alignment is here. So this is going to work out. We can attack with our Kodachi here, attack with a Ravenous Rabble. Ravenous Rabble gets blocked, attack with Brand, attack with Kodachi, pick up a Phoenix Flame. That triggers a Mask Momentum. If it gets blocked, we just attack with our Snatch and draw a card, arsenal that. If it doesn't get blocked, we potentially draw something with Go again to work into our turn, then play Snatch. Dash choosing to not block at all. We can expect a bit of a heater on her turn, fortunately for us. We also have very good cards. Counting our Draconic Chains here, Draconic Links, we only have one. Playing out the Snatch here, taking advantage of Dash's clear disinclination to block. We will use our Snapdragon Scalers to make this work, but that's fine. We're hoping to draw another finisher. We're hoping to draw another Salt the Wound or a Lava Burst. But with one floating resource, really anything in our deck is playable. We draw blue instead, which, like I said, blues are the worst thing to draw off of your Mask, Snatch, bonus draw effects. Now Dash choosing to block, mitigate some damage here. We do have a choice at this point of whether we want to put a card into Arsenal. If I am making this call now, I am interested in sending the Rising Resentment and arsenaling the Brand with Cinderclaw. We push 4 points of damage here, get the Dash low on life, and then prepare for our next turn. Brand with a blue would present lethal, would get at least one block from Dash. It also just gives us a much greater potential to go 6 lengths wide. Throttle here coming in for 6 with no combat tricks in Dash's deck. Maybe she's on Pummel. It's something I've seen, but Pummel still doesn't kill us and probably eats the rest of Dash's turn. We have a Zipper hit coming in for 5. I am inclined at this point, let's look at our hand. Let's look at what we can actually do here. Brand plus Lava Vein Loyalty is 5 points of damage. 1, 1, 1. Pick up a Phoenix Flame for 2 if we keep our Shugo. It gives us the option to block with 8 here. If we can keep 2 cards in hand, Enlightened Strike plus Rising Resentment, that's 7 damage, 8 really with the Brand, which is important because 8 damage requires 2 cards from Dash's hand to deal with. 7 points of damage she can block with a 3 block and Foundry Heart to go to 1. 8 damage gets an additional card from her hand to not be dead, which really reduces her incoming damage. But as it is, this hand is pretty good. 4 links here, 5 links, 6 links, or a potential for, let's call it 3, 4, pick up a Phoenix Flame, 5, go again with Enlightened Strike, Salt the Wound, bottoming our only Phoenix Flame from Graveyard, which is generally a bad idea unless it wins you the game on the spot, which here, our Dash at 4, only 1 piece of armor left, probably does win on the spot. So with that in mind, I am inclined to block 5 with armor. With 1 floating resource, Dash could Foundry Heart. This could be a throttle from Arsenal, which would require a block from us. But Dash is only boosted twice, so this cannot be maximum velocity. Dash is only boosted twice, so she will not be able to Hanabi Blaster. I like blocking with 5 here, staying at a healthy 6, and knowing that we have more than enough damage on our turn to kill the Dash. Keeping the Shuko is also fine. This is just vanilla damage. I suppose if we wanted to really be heads up here, we throw an additional 2 block our Shuko or a Rising Resentment to not be dead to Razor Reflex, interestingly. But keeping the Shuko here is fine, knowing that we will be able to trigger it. Here, Pulse Wave Harpoon, we have to reveal 3 cards. So let's think about what we want to keep. What do we not want Dash to know that we have? We have a blue brand in Arsenal. So let's say we don't have Enlightened Strike. We are looking at 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 6. I don't know. Dash is going to take some Kadachi hits. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Let's say anywhere from 12 to 14 damage. It's very good. What if we don't have this Rising Resentment? 1, 1, 1, 2, probably 7 at that point. We're just bottoming the Salt and sending E-Strike for 7. That is, what is that, 5, 12 damage, so that's a lower damage line. We do want to keep this Rising Resentment. Without the Salt, 1, 1, 1, 3, probably 7, that's 13. Bottoming our Phoenix Flame, leaving the Dash with no hand, and probably at 1 or 2 life is fine, but we do lose our ability to really close the game there. Without Lava Vein Loyalty, we were looking at something like 1, 3. We would say 3, 1, 7 Arsenal of Phoenix Flame. So 3, 1, 7 is 11. So our lowest damage hand comes without Lava Vein Loyalty, which means that the 3 cards we are going to show Dash are Salt, Rising Resentment, and Enlightened Strike, hoping that she takes the Enlightened Strike. Just want to make it clear, these are not calculations I do in-game, because this would all take very long, and I feel self-conscious taking that much time on Talishar. But this is absolutely something that I wish I would do and need to start doing in paper, and that I would encourage all of you to do as well. Just really calculating how many links wide can I go on my turn. Is it 6? Okay. What's the most damage I can do on my turn? Is that 6 links wide? I have to block with something. What does my turn look like based on what I block with? There's just so much math, so many calculations involved in playing even red deck wins here, that there's just so much room for growth in average play. Hanabi Blaster does get a counter, but needs 2 to fire, so we aren't worried about taking any additional damage after this Pulse Wave goes off, putting us to 3, taking our Enlightened Strike, which, as we calculated, was the lowest damage card in our hand. The hand we are left with, assuming we play it correctly, is the highest damage hand we can have. So we will see if that does in fact come to fruition. Blocking the first Kodachi with maximum velocity is an interesting line. Maybe they put us on Razor Reflex? But if you're using 3 blocks to block Kodachis to play around Razor Reflex, you've already lost the game. Using a 3 block to block a 1 power attack, which is now unavailable to block this 3 power attack in our hand, it isn't great. The dash will be able to survive the turn, of course, blocking this Rising Resentment. Salt only coming in for 3, which is cleanly blocked by the last card in Dash's hand. Unless it is an item, it isn't. But we have stripped the Dash's hand. Dash has no armor left, and Dash is at 3. And we have a hand that pretty easily plays itself. Mounting Anger comes in first, gets 2 cards out of Dash's hand. Kodachi puts them to 1. Ronin Renegade gets an additional card out of their hand, and then Lava Burst kills them. If they somehow didn't die, we can pick up a Phoenix Flame for our arsenal, but I don't believe Dash is heavily invested into D-Reacts. So pretty close game overall. Our power turns were a bit better than Dash's. We had a good Art of War. We did not see any sort of max velocity or high impact, high octane turn from Dash. That said, her high octane turns are a little less good than Teclo Pistol Dash. But she did get the tone of Fianball, so a pretty good representation of the FaB Dash matchup there. Just all about math, all about blocking efficiently, all about dealing higher damage, dealing more damage on your turn than Dash, and with Kodachi momentum, forcing those awkward armor blocks, chipping through the armor quickly so that Dash can no longer easily block your Kodachis, no longer easily block your 4-power breakpoints, and you drown them in card advantage. FaB with 5 intellect is a lot better than Dash with 4. So, good luck in your games, and I will see you all again tomorrow with a new video. Have a good one.